We're good to go? All right. Hi, folks. Thank you for joining us here today in Huxley, Iowa. Sorry we're a few minutes late, technical difficulties and all. I'm joined by my family here today. My name is Leopold, and I'm here to announce my candidacy for governor of Iowa. Get ready. This is going to be a campaign like no other you've seen. I'm a professional. I'm a scientist by trade. I'm not a legislator. I'm not a politician. I'm actually a doer. I get things done by bringing people together. I've been doing this my whole career. I'm not into pointing fingers and waiting for the next election cycle. I'm into leading different forms of government. So I've been involved in county governments here in Iowa, Dickinson County and Polk County. I've worked for different states and I've worked at the federal levels. I'm literally an outsider. So I'm a conservationist, a scientist. I spent about 20 years in the field. During that time, I would see decisions politicians were making on a daily basis that were ineffective, they weren't working, I was frustrated, and so it was then about maybe 10 years ago I decided to actually go into policy. It was with that attitude of service that I actually went into the Department of Natural Resources as the director. I was there from 2007 to 2010. While there, we had a staff of about 1,100 people, and I had a balanced budget every year for 4 years of about $200 million. Now at DNR, I took very seriously our commitment to be stewards of the land, but also stewards of the tax dollars. While I was there, I believe I made that department much more responsive to Iowa and much more efficient and effective. Personality traits. I'm very candid. I'm very transparent. I'm very fair. I believe these things are desperately needed at the Capitol and largely absent. I say what I mean and I mean what I say. I think that Iowans deserve a governor that has some backbone and character. Politicians, they talk a lot, they form a committee, they offer some tired excuses, they wait for the next election cycle, and then nothing changes. I say, let's change this, let's do this, let's take care of our own. We hear a lot about rural Iowa being open for business. Is rural Iowa really open for business when there's thousands of people that actually have to leave their communities to get a good paying job? Is rural Iowa open for business when it's harder and harder to send your kids to college because of low wages? What about attracting a workforce? So we want all these people to move to Iowa and help us when we have some of the filthiest water in the country. Now we all want the things that tax dollars pay for, right? We want a good education system, we want a clean environment, we want good roads and bridges, a thriving economy, productive ag sector. And I believe that as Iowans, we are willing to pay for it if we get what we pay for, but we want our government to be effective, efficient, and results driven. Now let's talk about jobs for a minute. The jobs that I'm going to focus on are good paying jobs that can't be outsourced. For example, I was involved in the wind industry in Iowa when we were first starting to get wind interest in Iowa. And we knew that the big boys were going to make their money, right? The major investor owns, and that's okay. But we targeted programs, incentive programs and things like that to make sure that small and medium-sized producers could get into the game so that farming co-ops and hospitals and schools and stuff like that could also benefit. At the same time, we worked on a state level to get a 2-year program into every community college in Iowa. You could go to school, get a 2-year degree, come out making $50K a year plus benefits. Now, that's real jobs right there. We also attracted a lot of industry to Iowa. So we now have 7 factories that are making blades, turbines, or towers, and that can't be outsourced. Iowa's a farm state. We're very proud of that. We have some of the best soil on the planet, we have a great climate, and we have the world's most dedicated and professional farmers. We're very proud of that. But there are problems in the rural sector. We're losing topsoil. Our water has too many nutrients in it. Big agriculture has its place, but small and medium-sized agriculture has its troubles, and we need the diversity of agriculture to be strong. Now these challenges are very complex, and all I hear in a state level is politicians talking sound bites and very glib and antagonistic talk. The civility is gone. Now you look at my successful history. So while I was at the Iowa DNR, and even prior to that, I worked right with commodity groups. I worked with the corn growers, the soybean, pork producers, cattlemen, and I worked with environmental groups, and I worked with urban groups, and we got things done. We passed laws and policies that were common sense, that saved money and increased productivity. We need that again. We think we desperately need that. Right now, what we're getting is a lot of animosity and just half measures, just picking at the edges, but not really getting things done. I think it's time that we remember who we are as Iowans. This is our state, and we're neighbors. So whether you live in the rural countryside, whether you live in a small town like Huxley here where I raised my family, whether you live in the big city or the suburbs, we all want a different kind of government, one that strives for justice, compassion, and decency. And I really believe it's time that our voice is heard again. So, enough talk. Let's get down to work. It's with an attitude of gratitude, humility, and the spirit of service that I start this journey with you. Thanks for your time, and I look forward to seeing you out in Iowa.